Triple B, Bobo. Here to bring you the latest edition of Quarantine Workout Tips. Today what I wanted to do is share one of the circuits from the 6 a.m. Zoom group training session. Okay, so what we typically do in this group training session is we do a warm-up, then we hit normally two, I call them strength blocks, so 2 circuits of metabolic strength work, which just basically means it's circuit, and then follow up with a little conditioning circuit, and then we're able to hit a cool down circuit as well. So the neat thing about doing the virtual training is that I'm able to cram a lot of work into the hour, which we get a lot of work done in here in regular training in the regular environment in person, but because there's less ability to chit chat and socialize, which is a great thing, don't get me wrong, people love that about group. I love it too, we have a blast in here, but because we're not able to do that as we normally would, we're getting a lot more work done. So that's going to be carried forward into training regardless. When we're back in here in person, we're going to keep it moving a little bit more. So, but yeah, what I wanted to do was show y'all one of the metabolic strength circuits from this morning's workout. So what we did this morning was I had everybody, after our warm-up, which is typically like, we'll do it as an interval where they're working for 40 seconds and then resting for 20 seconds, and we go through the exercises 3 times. I do that with the warm-ups because I feel like I want people to not be tied to a specific number of reps and instead be focused on the warm-up movements, because when we're warming up, we're not trying to go all out yet. We're basically ramping up to kind of the main part of the workout, which is the metabolic strength work. So this is the first metabolic strength circuit of the morning. We did 3 rounds of this. Within the 2 metabolic strength blocks that we have, everyone's kind of keeping track of their own reps. So we break out from that interval format, and each of the exercises within these circuits has reps tied to it. So everyone can kind of work at their own pace. I do that on purpose, just as I do in here with group training, because not everyone's at the same level. So one of the things that I have become very proficient at, I've been doing this for a long time, is with a group setting, you have to realize that not everyone's at the same level. So I like to have options available to suit each person in the group as best as I can. And then also too, I give rep options. So if I say 6 to 8 reps, then someone who might be less proficient at doing a movement can go for the 6 reps and do them really well, versus someone that's, been doing it more frequently can go for higher reps, okay? It's totally, I leave it up to the individual. If I see someone looking like things are not looking so great, I'm going to stop them and, politely offer some, advice and whatnot. But the whole goal is basically to work with quality of movement instead of just going, let's go as many reps as we can, regardless of how it looks. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's always a foundational principle here. So, circuit that we did this morning, not that my chicken scratch will really convey this to most of y'all, but we did 3 rounds. So on our strength work, I've been leaving it as a 3 to 4 round kind of thing. Since we did 4 exercises this morning, we did 3 rounds of this, just so we could have time to get everything done. So we have 4 exercises for 3 rounds. First exercise is going to be a dumbbell alternating snatch, okay? We did 6 to 8 on a side. Second exercise is going to be either a high plank hold for 20 seconds, just locking it in super tight, or if you're proficient at doing a high plank hold, you can progress that to what I call a shoulder tap with 4 to 6 reps on the side. Third exercise is going to be a half feeling windmill for 4 to 6 on a side. We can go with body weight or with a dumbbell on that. So each of these movements is either a body weight movement, so dumbbell, body weight, dumbbell, body weight. And then I threw in old school crunches, because as much shit as people give just the basic crunch, I feel it has its place every now and then. It's not going to give you a 6-pack to do crunches all day long, and like I was joking this morning, back in the 90s, all we did with people was crunch after crunch after crunch variation, over it. That's all people did, right? We know that crunches are overrated, yes, but a little bit of that spinal flexion is not going to hurt anyone. I tend to go more with reverse crunches or ab mat sit-ups in here, but since most people don't have an ab mat at home, an option would be a stability ball crunch. That would actually be, I would prefer that over just a floor crunch, but hey, we're working with what you have right now. So we did 10 to 15 reps there. So I'm going to show y'all each of these exercises. and just kind of give you my rationale for how I chose the exercises as well as the format for the circuit. So the format for the circuit this morning, as well as this circuit that we're showing, as well as the second circuit, was the first exercise is going to be more of an explosive kind of like higher intensity movement. Okay, so it's going to get the heart rate up. It's going to get that nervous system clicking. Okay, and then from there, what I did was I kind of alternated. In addition to it being dumbbell bodyweight, I went with that high intensity movement to kick off the circuit. For the theory is that we're going to keep that heart rate up as we go. But we're going to a static hold on that second exercise, so it's more of a kind of static dynamic format there. Third exercise is going to be kind of a total body kind of core, but hybrid stabilization, whatnot. And then the fourth exercise is just straight up abs. So exercises 2 and 4 are kind of abs, and exercises 1 and 3 are kind of total body hybrid movements. So dumbbell snatch, what we're going to do here is we're going to alternate the arms for each rep. So we did a total of 6 to 8 reps per side. So that's 12 to 16 total reps if you want to count it that way. Main important thing to remember about this exercise, so if you've ever done like a snatch of any sort, like a kettlebell snatch or a barbell snatch or a kettlebell swing, you know or should know that those movements are driven by the legs and hips. We're not using the upper body to move the weight. Yes, the weight is moving overhead, but we're not pulling on it to make it, we're pressing it overhead. We're driving, the momentum is being driven by, God, that's an annoying. I can't stand cars that are like, let me show you how big my ego is. Anyway, we're going to be using the legs and the hips to make the weight come up, okay? So you're not just picking the weight up off the floor. If you've got a heavy weight, you can't do that anyway. My suggestion here would be when I normally do these in real life, I would go anywhere from 25 to 35 pounds with this, okay? I'm going to demonstrate with a 20. I realize a lot of y'all might not have an appropriate weight for you at home. Like Shannon used a 15, so like for most of my clients in here, I would recommend 15 is kind of a good ballpark. Females, guys are going to go a little bit heavier, but yeah, so if you don't have heavy weight, I guess what I was trying to say is you can hold 2 smaller dumbbells in one hand and make do with that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially kind of get over the dumbbell to where I essentially drop my butt straight down and the dumbbell is right here. So I'm going to think about kind of like explosively driving my hips like this and legs, boom, and then the weight's going to kind of come up here, okay, and I'm going to catch it overhead. Then essentially to come back down, I like to have people bring it to the shoulder and then bring it back up to the floor versus try to just kind of go back down and mirror how they got the weight back up, which is what you could do too. I feel it's safer to come to the shoulder and then come back down. Because what you don't want to do is let the weight come out in front of you, okay? You'll feel that in the low back and it's just shoulder, like it's pulling everything out of position. So, okay, to the shoulder and then back down to the floor. Shoulder.
Yeah, these get you going.
Yeah. It's a good one.
I wish we could do a slow-mo video of you doing these.
So hopefully you can see how I'm opening up the hips and the weight just kind of floats up. I don't know if this is 5 or 6, but we'll say it's 6. Okay, what you don't want to do is, like I said, let the weight get out in front of you, or kind of get it to here, and then try to like bring it overhead. You really want to open the hips up here to fully express all that power that we're generating from the legs and the hips.
So if someone's newer to snatches and they just have, all they have are lighter weights, they could just practice with those?
Yeah,
but do you feel like,
means.
okay,
Yeah,
because I know some of the workouts you say like having a little bit heavier is actually better.
It'll help you do it.
I kind of feel that way with
Totally.
snatches, but
Totally. But I mean, you got to make do with what you have. Right?
yeah.
So, like I said yesterday in the dumbbell video, make it like pretend it's heavy, okay? Just because there's a lot of exercises where, in people out there that do strength, like heavy strength lifts, power lifters, crossfitters, those of y'all that have trained with me and we've done heavier, like, you understand that like that heavier load makes you engage your body better. So when the weight's lighter, it's not going to force you to brace.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you pick up a heavy dumbbell, your body automatically does that.
Yeah.
When it's lighter, like there's not the stimulus to make it kind of react that way, but you can make yourself do it anyway. If you know to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, by all means, like you can work on it with lighter weight. Just be aware of like the positions because the weight can kind of get away from you because it's not, the heavier the load, you're going to want to keep it close to the center of your body or center of mass versus like, I'm not going to want to let this 20 pounder get out here because it's going to hurt my shoulder and low back. Very good question. Okay, so that was the alternating snatch. So we did 6 to 8 reps on a side. Second exercise is going to be either your high plank hold as an option, okay, if you're working on dialing in that position. And then the second option would be the shoulder taps, okay, so I'm going to show both. So really important on both of these that you push the ground away, okay. On all these exercises, really, we're pushing the ground away to make it happen. You never want to think about just collapsing towards the floor in anything that you do. When you walk, like lift yourself up, okay? It's just like fight gravity. You're being more active, just kind of owning your body in space, regardless of if you're walking across the floor to the kitchen to get a beer or whatever. So with the high plank, we want to push the ground away. I want y'all to grip the floor with your hands and think about screwing your hands this way to set the shoulders. So we've got the shoulders underneath hands underneath the shoulders, and then I'm kind of gripping and pushing the floor away so that I'm not sagging here. Okay, so we're locking in this position. My neck is neutral. I'm not here. I'm breathing. So we held this for 20 seconds as option 1. And then option 2 is what I call a shoulder tap, where we did 4 to 6 on the side of tapping the shoulder.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep my body as still as possible. I'm going with the beep of the backup beep on that band. So 4 to 6 on the side. Like rep-wise, I feel like some people maybe could do more reps than that, but with things like this, I'd rather keep the reps lower and let people really dial it in and do it really well.
Yeah. You can always add an extra round.
Right, exactly. And same thing with the high plank. 20 seconds of just really locking it in. Another option could be 10 seconds of really locking it in, come down to your knees for a few seconds and come back up to 10 seconds and do the 20 seconds that way. My whole point is like, I don't like to have people do lengthy amounts of doing things. You can tell when the fatigue starts kicking in, it starts looking bad, okay? So it's better to do a few reps really well than a ton of reps really bad. Okay, third exercise, we're gonna go back to using the dumbbell. Okay, so these are called half kneeling windmills. So half kneeling is this position right here, okay? So important on these, I like to have people plant the toes of the back foot, okay? We are gonna kind of kick this back foot's gonna kind of be swiveled in, okay?
Like
so it's not
kickstand.
Yeah, just swivel this back foot in a little bit. It just lets you kind of hinge over at the hips a little bit better. And then we're pushing into the floor with both feet, okay? So the ball of the foot on this back foot, this front foot is pushing it too. So like I said, y'all could go body weight on this just to learn it. We do these in here with typically a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a sandbag on the shoulder. When you have the weight overhead, I want y'all to stare at it to help stabilize it because that would be bad, right?
Yeah.
So the weight's overhead. So the whole key here is that you're trying to keep the weight stable. We don't want this going crazy over your head. You want a nice stable load, okay? The arm is going to be vertical the whole time. And then essentially what we're doing here is that we're moving the body beneath the weight. So I'm going to control myself and bring myself to this hinged over position and then come back up. So I'm controlling it back down to the floor. I'm not like plopping down here. And I'm thinking about using the muscles on the side of my right torso to pull me up, okay? So we did 4 to 6 of these.
Yeah, like you were saying with your breath too, that helps.
Breathe out when you come up. So that'll help you brace. Okay, so that's the half kneeling windmill. That's a really, really good movement. There's a lot of good stuff going on with that.
Yeah, it seems simple, but
it seems simple, exactly, but we're stabilizing through the shoulder. Okay, so you got that going on. We're also having to stabilize here at the hips.
yeah, squeeze your
And
bed.
then we're really working the obliques and a lot of good movements, muscles that laterally flex the torso. So, and I mean, you're really having to work on precision and control. And
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. So it's a good awareness exercise. That ties in with the Turkish get up.
I was gonna say,
that
yeah.
I showed last week.
And
So-
I want people to know it's okay if you have a super wonky side on those.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna. I feel better. Let's see. Yeah, it feels better for me to go to the right.
Yeah.
Than it does to the left. This is the side that I tend to have some kind of congestion with, issues with, but not right now. I'm not worried. But okay, last exercise, and then I'll let y'all get after it. If you feel like running through this, crunches. Okay, just keeping it simple this morning. Like I said, you can do these on a ball. We don't do a lot of crunches in here, but you know, it's not going to kill you to do them every now and then. And everyone loves feeling a burn in their abs. So to the trainers out there that are like, ooh, crunches don't do shit. You know what? Like, we all like to feel muscles working, and hey.
I always take that time too to remind myself of my low back, to keep it against the floor, like
Yeah.
those tiny little habits to, you know,
Totally.
it's simple, but like,
Totally. Body awareness, like just reminding yourselves of stuff that's important. So we're gonna flash it back to 1995. So important cue on a crunch would be to make sure that you have space between your chin and your chest. Okay, you don't want to be here, so don't push your head forward. Okay, we don't want us to be straining anything. Y'all are stressed. We need to relax. Let's like not add any more tension to all this congested, tight area anyway. So place your hands behind your head and you're going to support your head. So you want to leave a space that's roughly the size of like a grapefruit or a large orange right here, okay? Trying to keep that neck neutral. But you can go feet down or y'all could go feet up, okay? Whatever tickles your pickle. And then from there, like Shan said, you don't want to be arching your low back off the floor and being all wonky here. Get neutral with your pelvis. And then from there, I think about something kind of pulling, like we said yesterday with the cue of like pulling the elbows up with a string on those lateral raises.
yeah.
I think about something kind of lifting me towards the ceiling, not straight up, of course, but okay, so there's not a lot to a crunch, but we did 10 to 15 reps per set on those. Yeah. So there's the circuit for the day.
And it was fun.
Yeah, it's a really good one. We did 3 rounds. Everyone was working at their own pace, okay? When I arrange circuits like this for people, we're not trying to count a specific amount of time between exercises for rest. I expect people to just kind of move at a pace that they're able to sustain, okay? Because it's a metabolic strength circuit. We're not trying to like do exercises where you have to recover for a minute or two in between.
Yeah.
It's not that intense. This is more of an aerobic kind of strength training kind of effect. So people were able to move sequentially from one thing to the next really well this morning. So that's a good guide for this kind of work.
Yeah.
If you're trying to go all out and like, sprint these kind of things, then it's going to kind of go against the effect we're trying to get. This is meant to be more cardio strength training.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so if you do like the less reps, you could always just add around.
Yeah, that
Or
was
if you're
a
like
good point.
Wendy, you can do all the reps in like 5 rounds.
and dance at the end, have time to dance a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yay.
So I plan on sharing. I mean, I've shot a few videos where I shared kind of what we're doing in the group. I'll keep doing that because I know some of y'all are looking for some ideas for workouts and whatnot. I guess too, it's important to say that there's a rationale behind putting circuits together and how I do my job. Like I'm not just randomly picking things and like putting it down for us to do. Okay. So it's important if you're like at home and you're not really sure how to like put things together for yourselves, consult with somebody that knows more than you do, like myself, or any other trainer, or seek out some resources because I don't feel like you could do, anything necessarily wrong, but there's more efficient and effective ways to get the job done. So, again, we have explosive movement. It's leg driven. Okay, hips and legs hinge with a sort of a pull. So if we're looking at movement patterns, we hit all of them really in this one. High plank, we're working on push, okay? Horizontal pushing, as well as core stabilization, anti-rotation. With the half kneeling windmill, we're working on shoulder stabilization there, but then lateral flexion is what it's called, and then hip stability. And then crunches, we're just going straight up spinal flexion. Not really anything functional about a crunch, but hey, like I said,
It keeps you moving.
yeah. So, Bo, come here.
Come here, little scruffy
Come here,
man.
little turn. All right. So,
Yay.
I hope y'all have a great hump day.
Yeah.
Look, we only took 20 minutes this morning.
Oh.
So we will be back tomorrow.
Bobo, say bye, two-leggeds. Go do your workout.
Bye, y'all.